Hi, I'm Jamie from Sci-Fi-Vision. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. Enjoy.
Jamie, thank you.
Can you start by talking about how, I guess, different did the show end up at the end of season two than what you initially kind of saw when you first started the show? How close to it, what you had originally thought was it?
Uh, what a great question. I didn't have a clear vision in mind for the ending. I knew sort of what I wanted, and obviously, when people watch the series, they'll see a very, I think, um, clear conclusion to the show. But the question of the show is really one of justice or revenge, right? And so one of the great sort of conflicts in writing was, well, what do I want to express? What is the thesis of the show ultimately? And ultimately, to me, I think the path of justice won out, and so you definitely see that in the ending. It also felt like after the end of season one, in beginning to write season two, and because of the pandemic, having such a long period to write, I discovered a lot in that process. And it felt like, I always knew that finding Hitler, bringing him to justice was going to be the conclusion of the series. But what became very apparent and clear to me was that was going to arrive a lot sooner than I expected. I just didn't feel like we had, I didn't want to prolong that catharsis. It felt like, especially with the world today as it is, that catharsis was needed now more than ever. And so instead of prolonging that over 4 seasons, it felt like, let's get to it this
That's it
season.
right away. Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So, can you sort of tease a bit about how this season's different from last season? Like, what can fans expect this year?
For sure. I think there is season one was about putting this incredible band of hunters, right? We're working seamlessly together. And season two is all about discord, right? It's about sort of a fissure within this group. The team has to come back together for one last go, one last hunt to find Adolf Hitler. And there's a lot of history now between them, a lot of bad blood between our hunters. And so they'll have to, work past those issues for this greater good, this greater mission.
Right. Which character do you think you're most like, and why?
Oh my God. What a great question. I think each of the characters are different facets of myself and my personality. I mean, I would have to say Jonah, mainly because of his relationship with his grandmother in season one, his search for identity, his struggle to kind of carry on this birthright and this legacy and the feeling of responsibility with that. Obviously, I did it with a pen, he did it with a dagger, but it was, my entire reason for creating the show is to continue my grandmother's story, to do her, story and memory justice. And I think Jonah is doing something very similar in season one and two of the show.
What did you learn about yourself from doing this show? Because obviously it's close to you.
Oh, I learned a lot about my grandmother and my grandfather, who I never met. I never met my grandfather. But just being able to, you know, tell the story of these vigilantes, of many of whom are survivors in the show, who go out and seek revenge and justice. It made me really think about my own grandmother. Did she have those thoughts? Did she have those feelings? What were her own private conversations with herself, with her husband, my grandfather? What are the kinds of things that they talked about? So it was really an exploration, into some of the deepest recesses of their hearts and minds, and trying to uncover, I wonder if they had this thought before.
Okay, great. Well, I really enjoyed the season, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye bye.